Hi there, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us on UpNorthLive Unscripted at 6:30. And happy Wednesday! If you are watching this, you're probably done with your work day, which means 3 days down, only 2 more to go. Keep pushing through. We're almost to Friday. Well, sounds like Joe is not going to be joining us for first weather, but don't worry, we'll give him a little extra time after our first commercial break, so we'll have more time for weather in a few minutes. So let's just get right into our question of the day. So, believe it or not, TSA says 7 of the top 10 busiest travel days ever happened in the past month, and it expects to screen more than 32 million flyers from June 27th through July 8th. So, we want to know, do you plan on traveling this summer? And if so, by what form of transportation? Plane, train, car, ship? Not a lot of people traveling via ship this summer. Only 1% have said ship, 20% have said plane, no one train, and 79% say car. So we want to know if you plan on traveling this summer, where you're going, and how you're going to get there. So please scan that QR code on your screen now to vote. And we also have a post up on our Facebook page where some people are commenting. I think it's just kind of fun to see where people plan on traveling. So let's read a few of those comments. Let's see. Someone says, I say someone because I don't actually know the person's name, but it must be an account. It is TC Travel Long-Term Parking. Said flying out of TVC or GRR. Galen says train, plane, bus, and automobile are all modes of transportation we plan to use this year. All right. Let's see. Tracy says traveling east in the fall in a car. Kyle says we'll be driving. Mike says from home to work, then from work to home. Life is simple. I love that, Mike. Laura says not a plane. Jessica says no. William says planes, trains, and automobiles, but that's not until Thanksgiving. And Adam says planes, trains, and automobiles, gas-powered. So those are our comments on our Facebook post. But if you want to leave a comment on this live stream with where you're going and how you're going to get there, I would be curious to know. I know I'm actually going to be traveling on a plane this upcoming weekend. And so I have a feeling if TSA expects to screen more than 32 million flyers, I have a feeling it's going to be a pretty busy day at the airport for me. I'm flying to Chicago this weekend to see the Rolling Stones at Soldier Field. So I'm very excited for that, but should be pretty crazy at the airport. So we will circle back to our question of the day in a little bit. But right now, I want to turn things over to our top story of the day. So if you recall, Grand Traverse County experienced a cyber attack a couple weeks ago now, and Grand Traverse County officials have been finding ways to work around to deal with the impact of that cyber attack. And of course, the National Cherry Festival in Traverse City is set to kick off in a few days. And that really needs all hands on deck when it comes to law enforcement, first responders, all of that. So our Allie Baxter reports on what Grand Traverse County officials did to make sure its emergency services are at full capacity after that recent cyber attack in preparation for the National Cherry Festival.
Can consider a life and death sort of an emergency situation, right? Like having 911 not operational during Cherry Fest is a very dangerous situation for our community.
Traverse City and Grand Traverse County see a lot more people around during the National Cherry Festival, which means a lot more people calling 911 Central Dispatch for issues that could come up.
This was not just a dispatch-specific item, but this is a public safety-specific item.
Up until Tuesday, dispatchers and first responders didn't have computer-aided dispatch or a CAD system. It's used to track calls for service and monitor where in the county first responders are.
We talked about the urgency surrounding computer-aided dispatching and the impact that it has on life safety for our community and those that were going to be coming to the community to visit the Cherry Festival. So we were speaking about, the balance of using outdated technology to dispatch to different calls and have first responders perform their services in an environment that they are not trained in, nor are they familiar with.
Which is why Grand Traverse County Administrator Nate Alger made the emergency call to approve moving public safety software to the cloud.
We either had to move forward with this and not turn back, or we had to wait it out and see what happened next.
But what is the cloud, and how is it different from what the county already uses?
It's a managed service. It's a subscription, which is what everybody's moving to pretty much, which means that Tyler is responsible for keeping it patched, keeping the the nefarious actors out in
As the county's IT director explains, the difference is the location. Public safety software was on-premise, meaning it's on the county's own hardware infrastructure. The partnership with Tyler Technologies cloud software means the systems move to Tyler's servers and is accessed through the web, a move that Central Dispatch Director Jason Torrey says was already discussed as a possibility in the past.
Is the fact that we experienced a ransom attack the cause of quarantine, or is that a cost we would have incurred irrespective of the ransom?
Because of the ransom attack. They want to make sure that the data was sanitized before they moved into their environment.
And our Allie Baxter joins us live now from our content center. Allie, thanks so much for joining us. So with this transition to the cloud, is this going to be a permanent thing, or are they just doing this temporarily until they can get their original systems back up and running?
So long term, this is going to be a permanent thing. And that was a bigger discussion today about, hey, are there other services within Grand Traverse County that we should be transferring to a cloud-based system? And the answer to that was yes, this is something that they want to do because, like, there was a quote in the story that you just aired. This is actually what a lot of people are doing. They're turning to a subscription-based cloud-hosted platform, just because a lot of times if you do just have one backup software, kind of like what the county had, where it was just on premise instead of being up in the cloud, it just leaves you super vulnerable to, like they're experiencing right now, ransomware attacks. And if you don't have any backup, you're putting yourself in a pretty bad situation. So something they said that they noticed as well is that any county or city department that already has some of their services in a cloud kind of hosted system, they were not as affected as much during this ransomware attack situation.
And then so how much is this costing the county to transition to the cloud?
It's costing them right now a little bit extra probably than they would like. And that's something that I did touch on in my story, is that they actually have to pay a fee of $150,000 to move their public safety software right now. And that is because they have to pay a quarantine cost. So what that means is the data that they are moving into Tyler Technologies, which is going to be hosting them, that data that they are moving because it's been the victim of a ransomware attack, they have to sanitize it and they have to clean it to make sure it's okay before they bring it onto their host system. So they are actually having to pay a little bit more than they would want to right now. But kind of justification is it is being done in the interest of having this public safety software back online where it needs to be.
And so everything is back online. It's good to go for the Cherry Festival?
Yes, and that's something that was also discussed today because County Administrator Nate Alger went ahead and made that call, and he did reach out to commissioners actually in the last couple of days to make sure that this was okay with them as well. They wanted to go ahead and give the go-ahead because they didn't know how much time it would take to take all that software and get it into that cloud-based system. And with the Cherry Fest, we know it is literally right around the corner. It's being set up at the open space right now. They know they needed to go ahead and be able to get those systems online. So CAD, which is the computer aided dispatch system, that was kind of the main piece that they still needed. And that is something that they now do have access to as of 2 p.m. yesterday.
So all of the services that law enforcement and first responders used before this attack, they are all up and running as normally as they should.
Yes, as normally as they can. And they did say, you know, there might be some bugs, there might be some hiccups as we're making a bit of a quicker transition than we would like to see normally. But they said they've pretty much worked out all the kinks that they can, and that at the end of the day, this is going to be the best solution as we get into what is an incredibly busy time for our first responders here in Grand Traverse County.
I'm assuming this is probably going to be the busiest week of the year for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of the norm as well. They go into it knowing that this is going to be a really busy time period for them. So that's why it was so important that they get that computer aided dispatch system back. Something that I touched on in my story is if you don't know what the CAD system is, it helps the dispatchers know where all the law enforcement in the county is. So that's Michigan State Police, Grand Traverse County Sheriff's Office, Traverse City Police, the EMS, Traverse City Fire Department, Metro. It helps them keep track of where everyone is. So if someone does call in and say, hey, I need help, I'm down by the open space, dispatchers are able to look and say, okay, great, this officer is with is the closest to you, and we can go ahead and get in touch with them and send them that direction. So that's why it's so important for them to be able to have that system in place right now, because if not, they would just kind of be going on the radios right now saying, hey, is anyone close to this location? Can you go? And then a lot of times, like we saw a couple weeks ago when we first went behind the scenes with law enforcement, is that sometimes you have multiple officers show up to a place because there wasn't that kind of smooth communication of, oh, I've got this, you don't have to go.
Sure. Allie, anything else you want people to know about this transition to the cloud?
Let's see. I would say it definitely took a lot of research to be able to communicate the transition to the cloud, I guess, effectively. I had to rely on the computer information systems class I took in college, but hopefully that was explained pretty well. Really, the big difference between what the county is doing right now as opposed to what they were doing before is they just had all their hardware infrastructure stored on premise. And what they're doing now is they're just moving things to a cloud-based system. So their systems, their software, it's not going to be like here in Traverse City or Grand Traverse County. They're going to send it up into a cloud so they can pull it from someone else's servers. So that's how they're able to do what they can right now to get that public safety software online.
And Allie, a little earlier, you mentioned some technology bumps, and I just want to acknowledge that we are having a little bit of technical issue on the show right now. Allie, your video is coming in a little blurry. That's why I took up your story again, but looks like we just are struggling with our connection. So hopefully we'll get that fixed. But another thing I think worth mentioning, Allie, so you were at today's Grand Traverse County Commission meeting, and it does appear that Commissioner Brad Jewett was not there today.
He was not, and as you know from our reporting, Commissioner Jewett was arrested last week, and it was kind of up in the air. No one really knew if he was going to be at this special meeting or not. It obviously wasn't the focus of their meeting today, but when they did a roll call, they did acknowledge that he was one of the commissioners excused from being there today. The commissioners did go into a closed sessions. We don't know if that was to discuss Commissioner Jewett and the situation or not. But yeah, Commissioner Jewett was not there today. And as far as the investigation goes into what he is allegedly being charged with, the sheriff's office told me today that they have sent their findings and their report over to the prosecutor's office. I did ask the prosecutor for comment on any charges they were recommending. We know it's probably likely a misdemeanor charge. She did not comment on what the charges are. She did confirm, though, that she is going ahead and sending this, just like we've talked about before, she is sending this to the Attorney General's office so that it can be reassigned to a different jurisdiction to avoid any conflict.
Sure. All right, Allie, thanks so much for joining us with that update. And we are going to take a short break here in Up North Live Unscripted. When we come back, looks like Chief Meteorologist Joe Charlevoix is logged in, and he'll have your full weather forecast. So stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Unscripted, everyone. I do want to apologize for our video quality issues. We are experiencing some internet connection issues, and on my end, like, it looks fine, but apparently coming through air, it looks a little blurry. So I apologize about that. But let's turn things over to our meteorologist, Joe Charlevoix. Joe, we missed you earlier in first weather, but that's okay. We have you now, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, and you have Jeff back there working on things, right?
We're trying. Yeah.
Jeff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're trying to work out the kinks of this internet issue, but we're running tests and they come back fine. So really not a whole lot we can do at this point,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
we've all been there, internet, connectivity issues.
Happens to the best of us, right?
That's right. Well, it was a nice day today, Maya. I mean, a few clouds, just a couple lone showers, but I think the nice thing tonight is give the fan, the AC a little break, crack the window a little tonight. It's going to be nice and comfortable tonight.
Nice.
Yeah. Let's take a look. I'll show you, we'll start off with a look around parts of northern Michigan. Let's see. We got Mackinac City here, Petoskey. Those two, there's hardly even any clouds at all. And then look at Gaylord and Traverse City. Not that it's bad or anything, but, some clouds drifting through those areas. But overall, it's a pretty nice evening. Temperatures around the western lakes. I mean, Maya, you ever been to Marquette?
I actually have never been to Marquette.
Well,
sadly.
Do yourself a favor.
I know.
Yeah.
It's on the bucket list.
It's 54 right now.
Oof. Wouldn't want to be up there today.
Yeah, even for late June, that is chilly even for Marquette. We have a north wind. Newberry's only 60. And then you get way downstate, Kalamazoo's in the 80s along with Grand Rapids. But look at our wind right now. It's coming out of the north, straight out of the north. So that being the case, it's a dry wind, not much humidity in the air. And that'll set up a good night for sleeping tonight. I think our overall overnight low temperatures tonight, mid-40s to mid-50s. It's going to be comfortable. No need for really the fan or the AC. Just kind of the window crack, one of those late evenings out there with just comfortable weather. We had a few showers earlier. In fact, let me take this back about 6 hours ago. And right here, we had a couple thunderstorms. Actually, Maya, not too far from where you grew up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you in Alpena or Alcona County?
Osneek is in Alpena County.
Yeah, so you were close. By the way,
I'm right in Sanborn Township. Yep.
Yeah, I'm trying to find where Maya was.
All right, let's not get too close.
But that's it for showers. And here's the current look at things. Just a couple blips of rain there south of Alpena. It's pretty quiet. Looking ahead at a few things here, Maya. As far as rain, nothing tonight. Beautiful day tomorrow. But then look at Friday. Some showers come in the afternoon. And then Friday night into Saturday right there. Saturday morning looks wet. Could see some showers and storms. If you're maybe attending the air show in Traverse City, with the Navy Blue Angels, the National Cherry Festival this weekend, I'm hoping that the rain is done by noon. So we'll keep our fingers crossed for that. That's what it's looking like right now, though. A little cooler on Sunday. And here is a look at that extended forecast. And you can see dry weather tomorrow, but those showers, that chance for rain comes in Friday. And then Saturday, primarily in the morning, is when we get most of that rain Saturday. Sunday looks nice, a little cooler, though, and then another system Tuesday through the day on Wednesday. One more thing, too, if you're wondering specifically, well, how cold is it going to be where I live or cool today? There's a look at the forecast lows tonight. You can see a lot of 40s out there.
Wow.
So it should be a pretty nice night coming up. And, Maya, tomorrow, lots of sunshine. It's going to be a nice day. The only thing is, we have that chance for rain Friday night into Saturday morning. But, I think the majority of the weekend, once we get into Saturday afternoon, Sunday should be dry.
Nice. And I'm looking forward to a nice sunny day tomorrow.
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks, Joe. We're going to take another short break. And when we come back, we'll check in with sports director Harrison Beebe. Stay with us. You're watching Up North Live Unscripted at 6:30. Welcome back, everyone. Let's bring in Sports Director Harrison Beebe live from our content center on his phone. Hopefully, the connection is a little better this way.
That was the hope, actually. And I even told you earlier, maybe I should try doing this on the phone more often. But
Yeah, perfect opportunity to do so.
yeah, yeah, Maya. Today, a picture behind me on the editing equipment here, where we work on our stories for the day. I covered the Michigan Women's Open Golf Tournament. It was the 22nd year in a row that the event took place at Crystal Mountain Resort, the Mountain Ridge course. There's Onsi D. She used to play at Traverse City West, and she just is coming off winning a national championship for the team for the University of Indianapolis in the Division II Women's Golf National Championship. So incredible stuff for her, and she did pretty well at the Women's Open this week. Finished, I believe, 3 over par for the tournament, 2 or 3 over par. That's Taylor Kehoe right there. She came in runner-up, just 2 strokes back. She chipped in for eagle on the 18th hole there. Pretty cool for Taylor. But our champion is right there, Jessica Welch. She shot 9 under in the first round, and she had at one point an 8-stroke lead today. Ended up coming down to those 2 strokes thanks to that eagle chip on 18 by Kehoe. But Jessica Welch, she came up runner-up the last 2 years in this event. Came home with the title today, so she's pretty happy. A lot of big shots. She had 5 birdies, I think, on the round today, enough to give her 12 under for the tournament, and the championship that's been evading her these past few years is finally hers. And she was pretty excited afterwards when she got that trophy, and we talked to her afterwards. Pretty emotional about finally coming home with the title this year.
That's awesome. So, will we hear from her tonight at 11?
I think we shall.
Why not, right?
Mm-hmm. And real quick, can we throw a plug for what's going on ABC tonight? The little NBA draft action.
NBA draft action. Let's talk about it.
Pistons picking number 5. Will
Again.
it help the franchise? Yeah, right. Will it help the franchise? That's waiting to see. One benefit. This is a pretty weak draft in NBA history as far as talent going into the draft, but I think a great thing to look forward to wherever you are. There's a benefit for the Pistons picking 5th as opposed to 1st. It's really anybody's game who's going to be the superstar from this draft. Maybe not like an iconic superstar, but the guy who's really going to make a name for himself in this draft. It could be at any pick. Nobody really knows who's going to be the face of this draft. So the Pistons could luck out. In 2013, that was considered one of the weaker drafts, and Contavious Caldwell-Pope was the Pistons pick, and he turned out to be one of the best players for the Pistons in that run where they even made the playoffs one year, and he was considered one of the best picks in that draft. So
you really just never know.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thanks, Harrison. I look forward to your update on the draft and more on that golf tournament tonight at 11. We're going to take another break here on Up North Live Unscripted. When we come back, we will check out the final results for Question of the Day. Stick around. Let's take one last look at our question of the day. Do you plan to travel this summer? And if so, by what form of transportation? 20% say plane, 79% say car. No one says train, and only 1% said ship. If you haven't voted yet, you can scan the QR code to let us know if you plan on traveling this summer. And thank you so much for joining us on Up North Live Unscripted. Sorry again about the video issues. Hopefully we'll get this network issue figured out before tomorrow's Unscripted show. And we will see you back here tonight on Up North Live News at 11. No internet connection issues will happen then. Take care, everyone.